No reire te iwi, let's give a warm round of applause to our first kai kōrero o te rā, mai ko Rewi.
E mihi ana ki a koutou, ko te mihi tuatahi. Ngā whānau o ngā iwi o Taranaki, ngā kai kōrero, ngā karanga, tēnā koutou e mihi ana ki a koutou. Ko wai mātou, Rewiring Aotearoa. Ko wai au, ko makorewe tōku ingoa, he uru tēnei o ngai tahu waitaha Ngāti Māmoe, me Ngāti Kahungunu ki te Wairoa hoki. Ko te kaiwhakarite Māori o Rewiring Aotearoa. So kia ora everybody, my name is Michael Rewi. It's a privilege to be here in the Taranaki, my first time here. I was a bit upset. I woke up this morning, I couldn't see the maunga. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully the sky's clear tomorrow. And I'll be ready for it. I'll be pretty upset if I get back down to Tahuna, Queenstown, and I haven't seen it, you know. So, yeah. I do have my colleagues here with me. It's going to be a bit of a tag team, a bit of a trio speak. We all hold different mātauranga, different roles within Rewiring Aotearoa, so it's going to be a bit of a collaborative effort here. The kaupapa o tēnei wā is whakahiko ngā marae, so that's what we're here to talk about, and what exactly that is, and we're about to get into that. Like I said, ko Michael Rewi tōku ingoa. I wear a few pōtai. I whakapapa to Waihopai in Vakagu. I now reside in Tahuna, Queenstown. In my full time, I actually run a kaupapa Māori trust down there in Queenstown, in Tahuna, Queenstown, called Mana Tahuna Charitable Trust. We do exist down there. Central Otago, it's a bit of my role and a bit of a running joke whenever I'm outside the takiwā, is that there is a need down there for us, and there are Māori down there in Central Otago. In 2022, which I'm about to get into, I helped form this kaupapa called Rewiring Aotearoa. With a collective of energy experts, community experts, and people just really passionate about changing our energy system for whānau, for people across the motu. So like I said, I'm the kaiwhakarite Māori, or connector for our Māori community, plus a bit of a Māori advisor for our ropu at Rewiring Aotearoa. A little bit more, so whakapapa down to Waihopai Runanga, Ora Kaparima, Hokanui. I'm a Hokanui representative actually. We're actually reconsenting from Manapōuri Power Scheme down there in Te Anau. So we're actually going through that as a Papatupu Runanga consenting process at the moment. It's a trying time, you know. It's probably one of my first time being in the room with the rangatira. And it actually got to a point where Meridian were saying this is our plan for reconsenting, and obviously the whānau were a bit against it. And actually they just said, well, we could always just fast track it, you know. And so these are things that we're dealing with as iwi, as whānau Māori. But we're here to talk today about our kaupapa whakahiko ngā marae, and that's why we're here. So I think I'll introduce Jay, and then Matt, and then I'll come back.
Tēnā koutou. No tāwahi o kutipuna, I whānau mai hau I ahi tererea, I tipu ake au I Toowoomba. Kei te mihi hoki ki ngā iwi Jagara, Gaiabo rātou ko Jarawa no ahi tererea. Engari e noho ana au I Tamaki Makaurau e nei. I raro I te maru o te maunga maungawhau. Ko te noho, ko tahitanga, te marae. Ko Jay toko ingoa, ko Rewiring Aotearoa, taku turunga mahi. Tēnā koutou katoa. My name is Jay. I'm really privileged to be here with you today representing the Rewiring Aotearoa kaupapa along with this trio of tāne that we've got up the front here. My role at Rewiring Aotearoa is ecosystem lead. I look after our community movement, of which Community Energy Taranaki and Steve here is a part of that, and 31 other groups around the country who are making electrification real for their rohe, for their communities. And really privileged to work alongside these two gentlemen on the whakahiko ngā marae kaupapa and to share a bit more about what that is. But introductions are important, so let's start there and then we'll get into the content. So Matt, I'll pass to you.
Kuranga tira mā tēnā koutou. Wiri ana aku waiwai o te Pākehā nei te tuku kōrero ki a koutou katoa. Nā reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou. Pakeke atu au ki te awa tupua Whanganui. Ai, ko taku ingoa whānau he Newman. Nā reira, nai nei ka hunuku mai maua ko taku wāhine ki te nōtara, ki te whiore o te ika, ki te kāmo e noho ana maiua mai te timatanga o te tau nei. Nā reira, māku mā mātou te Waimāre te tai atu ki tēnei whare, i raro te tuanu o tēnei whare, te tuku kōrero, te whakawhiti kōrero, me te whaka... to learn, to learn from you as well. That is the key. So my name is Matt Newman. This is only my 4th day on the job, so please, aroha mai, kia aroha mai. Please be gentle on me. But I look forward to getting into our kaupapa i tēnei rā. Tēnā koutou.
Tēnā kōroa. Rewiring Aotearoa. So who are we, what are we? You know, this is a question we get asked quite a bit actually across the motu. It's really important for us to, you know, when we do engage and come in these spaces, really outline who we are, the genesis, the whakapapa of our rōpū. Power cut. Oh, it'll come back? Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Oh, it was me. My bad. So like I said, my day job is I run a kaupapa Māori trust down in Central Otago called Mana Tāhuna. In 2022, I was invited to a wānanga in Glenorchy, also called Tāhuna. And it was around, it's called Toru, and it's a wānanga for, it was Sir Ian Callaghan, before he passed away, had a dream that every 3 years, hence the Toru, 100 of our decision makers, our thinkers within this motu would come together and wānanga about what the next 10 years strategy-wise looks like for us. I was privileged to be in that room alongside a really, people with really deep, passionate mātauranga about a whole range of things facing our country and our whānau. Dr. Sol Griffith is an Australian guy. He genuinely is, like he looks, a mad scientist. He went to MIT over in America, and he created Rewiring America. So in the Biden administration, he worked with President Biden to pass what's called the Inflation Reduction Bill. And that's what he disguised his climate savings, his climate bill as. Obviously, get it passed through Congress as an inflation reduction bill, a tool to fight inflation. And so we know that if he was to get whānau, get households, ability to be resilient and have their own way to make their own energy, their own power, it would lower the cost of living. He then started rewiring Australia. That's where he's from. He's from Wollongong in Australia. And then he spoke at this wānanga. And he spoke that he put a bell curve up on the screen. I remember it vividly. A bell curve up on the screen that at an investment of $12 billion, the tipping point, which we're at now in Aotearoa, would do $40 billion of savings in terms of energy savings for people across this motu. Q&A, I said to him, but Sol, at that tipping point, what I'm seeing, what you're seeing is savings. What I'm seeing is a lot of whānau that work in these industries losing their jobs. And he was straight up. He said, I haven't figured that out yet, but it's something that we really do need to tackle. It's something we do need to think about. Because on this tipping point, as we electrify industries, electrify homes, electrify businesses, there needs to be just transitions for whānau that are working within those industries. And what I saw was a lot of whānau Māori within those industries. So what is next for them? I also saw opportunity. Where's the opportunity for whānau Māori, iwi, hapu, to be involved, to participate, and actually to lead in the space as well. So in 2022, myself and those people in the middle there, that collage, created what is now called Rewiring Aotearoa. Within there's some energy experts, climate experts, community experts, creatives, and we all came together as a working group to create Rewiring Aotearoa. I was really passionate, like I just said, about whānau Māori being able to participate and lead the space and ensuring that all of us can participate in the energy transition and not be left behind. Those that can afford to do it are already doing it. So how do we actually build capability, bring our whānau along so that they can actually make these decisions around the dinner table and in the wharenui to actually be a part of this transition as well. Where are we today? So today we're roughly a team of maybe 15, 16 of us. Like Matt's our newest one, 4 days in. He's a baptism by fire. He's going to be speaking as well. It's the way we do it at Rewiring. Jay presented on his first day. And so, it's just how we do it. We all work remotely. We're spread right across the motu. And we work every day. There's kind of two parts, I would say, community and policy. So we've got a really strong policy team, and they're really committed to ensuring people in Wellington, working alongside Will, to make sure that decision makers, policy makers are actually creating policy that enable the transition, but not just enable the transition for people that can afford it, but how are we building the capability, how are we enabling us to all participate in that, even if we don't have the means to. On the community side, which is what Jay will also talk about, is creating that community space, community groups, community action, community teams, to really ensure that everyone is participating, everyone has that, that knowledge that they can really tap into at a local level. Is this still? All right, cool. Yeah, so like I said, I'm really passionate about how do we ensure, ngā iwi o te motu, whānau Māori, are all able to have mana motohaki, actually realise what are the aspirations within the energy system first and foremost. Like, what are the aspirations for whānau, for iwi, for hapu? I know for us down in Waihopai, down in Murihuku, our aspirations is to actually, transition our what our takiwā already participates in now. So farming, electrify farms, electrify our industries that are already down there. For cost savings, so decarbonisation. Forgot to say that. We are a climate org, originally, but I would definitely say my passion is more about energy savings for whānau. So how do we give whānau and iwi the ability to have that mana motohaki within the energy system? What are the aspirations? How do we support these whānau to achieve that? That's really what we want to do. So we're a charitable trust. There's no interest for us other than realising that for whānau and supporting whānau to realise that. Like I said, I'm huge on bill savings. I've seen energy hardship cripples a lot of our whānau in here. Our whānau don't have time to think about, can I put solar on the roof? Because they're thinking about their next meal, or they're thinking about next week's rent, or they're thinking about their power bill. So how do we actually allow whānau to breathe, allow whānau to hold space, allow whānau to have these decisions and actually make these decisions, or have the ability to have those conversations as well, that kōrero. Resilience, I whakapapa up to Wairoa on the East Coast, devastated by Cyclone Gabrielle. For 3 weeks, I couldn't get in touch with my power. So how do we also build that resilience in these takiwā that are facing climate head on? So how do we build resilience? How do we build resilience hubs? How do we give marae? How do we give community organisations, papa kāinga, kura kaupapa, the ability to become resilience hubs in the face of climate? How do we all work together to create that? We know that marae are a focal point of our communities. So how do we build a resilience through solar, through renewable energy? So if that happens again, which it will, and we know that, we now have resilient hubs that our whānau can go to. And then obviously we are a climate organisation. And so for me, that's just one of the benefits that comes with, walking alongside whānau to reach their aspirations. But actually, it's a huge part for us as well. We need to decarbonise. Jay, he's passionate about that. He'll go into that a bit more. And we do need to decarbonise as a country. We need to actually walk backwards. We can't just electrify every machine tomorrow. We actually need to go back and retrofit fossil fuel machines that we've already got in our houses, already got in our businesses, already got in our industries, because that's when we start to realise those CO2 emissions benefits as well.
Oh, nice. That's a nice working slide. Oh, no, great. These slides are not up to date. So, kapai, I'll just go off of what I know. If you give me 2 seconds to figure that out. So my task here, just for a couple of minutes, is to explain essentially what electrification is. You're going to have to use the ears rather than the eyes, and that's my apologies. But Rewiring Aotearoa is known for our very first report a couple of years ago. It's called the Electric Homes Report, where we wrote these words: Aotearoa is one of the first countries to cross the electrification tipping point. And what we mean by that is that it is now not only possible with the technology that we have today in order to electrify all of our fossil fuel machines, so to get rid of the things that power, like our water heaters, our heaters in our homes, our cooking, our cars, all of the ones that run off of gas or petrol or diesel. It is not only possible to replace those, but in most cases, it is in our economic best interests to do so. This is what we refer to as the tipping point. In fact, we did a study that shows that there are about 10 million fossil fuel machines in this country, 10 million total. 8.5 million of those machines are ready to electrify right now. and it is in your economic best interest to do so. Guess where most of those 8.5 million machines are? They are in our whare, they are in our businesses, they are in our farms, they are in our homes. Sometimes we get stuck on the 64 hot air balloons or the Boeing jets that are flying out of Tahuna, thinking, oh, we can't electrify them yet. And there are certainly some incumbents who would love for you to believe that. For you to believe that electrification is not possible yet. 8.5 million machines are ready to go right now. The other good news about that, to the last point that Mike had there, is that 25% of our collective emissions in Aotearoa are tied to these small machines. If we were to electrify those 8.5 million machines, we would get rid of 25% of our national emissions. And to get to the economic benefits as well, we have households is a lot of what our modelling has been done, and Matt in a second is going to tell you about what we're excited to be doing now. We're in the middle of modelling what it means for a marae, but if I just look at households for a second, we know that a household will save between $1,000 and $6,000 every year through electrification. Which means, in almost every instance, a home will save by swapping out the fossil fuel machines that they have and getting electric alternatives. I do have whānau come up to me sometimes and they ask, oh, wouldn't it be great if we just mandated that all new buildings have solar on them? All new buildings have electric machines. And I go, that would be great. But you know what would be even greater? If the homes that we already live in were bringing us those health benefits, we're bringing us those economic benefits. What if we support the households that we're already in? So I did have some nice proof points, some nice graphs. I want you to imagine the beautiful slides that proved everything I just said. But I'm really happy to take you through any of that content in more detail. We are a data-led NGO at the end of the day, and so we're usually very happy to show our slides. The tech just wasn't on our side today. I'm going to pass over to Matt, though, to describe to you what we're doing now, specifically in the marae space.
I even brought some props. That's not bad for day 4, eh? Come on. So this is our first report, 2002, around electric homes. And as Jay said, $6,000 a year in savings per household for the electrification of that whare. The next one was around electric farms. Our CEO, Mike Casey, he has the world's first electric farm, electric cherry orchard down in Cromwell. He's even got an electric tractor. I'm not sure when they're coming to Murupara yet matua, but they can't be too far away, the electric tractors, I reckon. Oh, there you go. Kei te whai tēnā, kei te whai. But the exciting piece of work that I'm really excited to be a part of, and that is driven by an amazing group of our Māori steering committee, is around whakahiko ngā marae, electric marae. It's a really big piece of work, I think, especially when we think, what are the kainga tūturu, what are the whare tūturu o Aotearoa nei? Well, ngā marae tēnā. And I think of all of the different types of marae, and this is where it's going to get really interesting for us as well. I think of our urban marae in Tamaki Makaurau, often with a runanga building or a kura kaupapa attached. I think of our marae out in the regions in Tairāwhiti, those marae that are having to take those resilience roles in civil defence emergencies when the power is out for weeks, as Mike said. I think of marae up in Te Awa Tipua that are still running the Marshall hot water heaters. I don't know if you've ever had to sleep in the fire room before, stoking it to keep the hot water going all night, but that is the OG sauna. That's my first time I learned what a sauna was. And I also think of marae like Ao Hou down the Whakatāne River, a day's ride on a horse from Ruatahuna all the way down, running on a couple of panels for their lights and some big LPG bottles that are either helicoptered in or somehow dragged on a trailer behind a horse. I'm not sure how they do it. I've had a shower there once and it was amazing. But that's the scope when we're thinking about electrifying marae, right? It's so wide and it's so broad, and that's what I'm really excited to get into. All of these maraes, your marae, have different needs, usage loads, and financing that's available to them, but are all facing the same pressures of increasing cost, the resilience, and the desire to take up the mantle of leadership, as Māori so often do when it comes to our obligations to papatua nuku, eh? And so when I think of that, I get really excited. This is our amazing steering rōpū here. We have, day 4, remember, I'm just trying to remember some names. Hine Rangipere, Levi Walford, Machu Taurau, Mel Wright, Piri Niha Te Tau, Will Edwards, Maru Rhodes, and Juliet Tānui Hernandez. And so they are really pushing the mahi and guiding us on this. I'm their little tono, I'm their ringa ringa me nā waiwai to get the work done. So, where do you come into it? And I guess this is a call from us for your support and maybe a call from you for our support. I've got some proposals here that I'm really happy to share around the room. You know, for us to push this to our policy team who are able to run the numbers, we need as many examples as possible of what is happening in your marae, whether you are electrified or whether you're in the process of it or whether you haven't thought about it at all. All of those little nuances of your takiwa, of your rohe, of the needs of your hapu, that's the data that we need to be able to create a blueprint, to be able to create, to prove the feasibility of electrification, to be able to stimulate investment for marae, for hapu, and also to accelerate that electrification around the country. And I just want to come back to that point I made before, you know, too often, in fact, in every situation I can think of, Māori hold those positions of leadership. The rest of the country waits, and eventually the wave gets big enough and people jump on board. That's how I've learned that government works. What have I done here? Kawai. So I'm really happy to pass these around, really happy to send some information out. I would love to hear from you around this kaupapa. Yeah, of course they are. But online, and I've got some paper copies right here for you as well. What's up?
Kia ora. I'm a bit of a dummy. Can you tell me what electrifying marae is? Because we've got lights in here. Is that electrifying the marae?
Yeah, pātai pai. Yeah, kia ora mātua. Yeah, so for us really, well just to tautoko what Mash just said, for us what electrifying marae is, we want any marae across the motu to be able to open the study up at the end of, when we're finished and see where their marae fits in terms of a case study. Then we want them to be able to see what that actually takes. Is there energy usage? What is the energy usage of the marae? Is it LPG for gas, for water heating? Is it LPG for cooking? Is it a generator to actually power the lights that are inside the marae? For us, we want to decarbonise, so we want to electrify those aspects of the marae. It might just be the water heatings. For us down in Waihopai, it's just the water heating that's on gas, you know? So we want that to be able to electrify, but we want to do that through in a resilient way, so that you're not aligning that with the cost of living, with the rising cost of electricity. Yeah, we want to be able to whakamana marae to be able to make that transition, whether it's supporting them to make those connections with council, with government and agencies, with funders, philanthropic funders, to then be able to take this report, see where they fit in it, and actually follow that and have a tangible result of electrification.
The kōrero about the difference between commercial and, you know, because our marae up north went and put in a new kitchen and they got charged commercial up doing all the, so it's the marae understanding that concept, if that makes sense.
Yeah, ka pai. Yeah.
Any kōrero on that?
Yeah, I think for us, and as Matt said, we understand, right, there's a whole bunch of different marae around the motu, but there's also a whole bunch of ways marae are run. Like Matt said, urban marae down in Waihopai, staff of 18 in their runanga. My marae up in Wairoa, Iwitia, run by my auntie and a Gmail account. So we understand there's a whole bunch of different levels of marae, but also capability within that marae to make these decisions. We want to walk alongside all those marae, and I'm passionate about maraes like Iwitia up in Wairoa, being able to make this transition, get off fossil fuels, reap the benefits of lower cost energy. Kia ora. Tēnā koe, Isaac.
Te Hauki. We just had a big fire on our chapel. It just burnt down. But talking about our marae, it would be wonderful because, you know, everybody gets inspired by what you say. But, you know, on our marae, it's what you do. So, you know, this presentation, your fellows' knowledge will certainly help a lot of the marae. I believe if you can give something back to the maraes, similar to what you're talking about, you'll receive. Because they have got money, they've just got to figure out how they spend their money. And if you've got a decent enough plan to front a marae, and I'm calling for you down in Kahungunu anyway, so I'll get a hold of your details, but the opportunity's there. Because our whānau have got the pūtia to do this, because if you're saving X amount of dollars, it makes sense to be part of this.
Yeah,
Kia ora.
ai tika te kōrero. I guess we didn't explain really where we're at on this journey at the moment. So at the moment, we've just come into an establishment. We've got our steering rōpū, and we've come together. And we want to do it in a tika way. That's tika of engagement. That's tika of the pātai that we're going to ask for marae. You know, we want to do it in an invasive way, but have that true meaningful engagement. That's the way we're going to do it.
I'll tell you, brother, our marae's, they're sharp.
Yeah. Yeah. Ka pai. Hey, and now you know, now there's a call, and then we're here to answer that call, you know. Yeah. Yeah.
Who are you doing?
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Ka pai. I'll see you there.
Tēnā tātou.
Yeah.
Because I've got the mic, I'm just going to squeeze this question in. Hey, but just from a real practical, because this is all cool, this theoretical, but my name's Mina, and I'm on the committee at Toroanui Marae at Parihaka. And in January this year, we received 50K from Meridian Decarb Fund, and we put a whole solar system on our wharekai. We also got an import-export meter, so we're the first marae at Parihaka to do that. Just, you know, despite having residential panels, which Tuhia will talk about later. But what we're finding is, once we got our import-export meter in, over winter, when we're close to do some repairs and what have you on site, we're saving, like, we're getting $100 credit every month in winter. And so our projected savings was about 400% on our power bills per annum. And we're seeing that, in, you know, in spadefuls. So roll on summer is all I can say.
That's awesome, and we'd love to kōrero as well, because that's we call it the gold standard of our case studies. You know, we want whānau to see what's already happening and be able to take that. So we'll connect. Oh, yep. Matua.
He Ahi Kā. I'm excited. When we asked to just sit next to one another and ask, what are we doing here today? Well, I said, I used to go to our marae, hui, monthly hui, and that's all I hear. The power bill is so blimmin' high. It's so high. So I decided to do something about it, and I got me a confidente, an engineer guy to look into it, and he did look into it. And we got told why. However, it may not be raised today, but I'm hoping it is. So, like you were what? I'm about 4 weeks into this learning process. Don't know all of it. I've heard some word, you know, some context being discussed. We're talking about marae. I'm wanting to see if you will advance your kōrero or whoever here. Is peer-to-peer support. So peer-to-peer support is when you're living, I got a little country marae out in Urupara. We've got about 10 houses all along the road. We're at a stage of rebuilding our marae. We've got a new wharekai up. We're planning a new wharenui and all the outbuildings. And we're going to put a solar farm on our marae to feed all the homes. Okay? So I'm really keen to go down that track with anyone here. I'll be really keen. To top it all off, I'm thinking big. Outside the square, I'm going to form a company like anyone else. And I'm going to call it the He Ahi Kā o te Moana Atoi, the Eastern Bay Solar Enterprise. Yeah? And that's all marae, all along the Eastern Bay of Plenty. So that's my dream. So
Tika.
Keep it coming. I'm listening.
You heard it here first, yeah. Ka pai matua.
Got two questions, our brother here, and then I think our sister in the back.
Kia ora. My name's Alan, I used to be a trustee at Rewiring Aotearoa. As you will have all seen, we have solar powers and we've got batteries there. However, my question is, in terms of the education or letting our whānau, giving our whānau the understanding of how to live in an electric marae or how to operate in an electric marae, we're fair enough, but not a lot of us know what that means in terms of whānau need to start understanding what's going to drive our bill up. Whānau need to understand how to live without the means that we're living with that end up being taken away if we electrify our marae. So yeah, in terms of that, it's more about, in this kaupapa here, have you got a portion that helps to educate our whānau? Because we all know the power doesn't get used in the marae unless someone's in the marae. Every other time we're all at home, so that can relate to us being at home, you know, being more power conscious, all of that sort of education. So does this kaupapa have an element like that?
Yeah, a couple of things. So we will definitely have case studies of marae that actually have solar and battery but don't use them or don't utilise them efficiently. Levi Walford, who's on, he's the chair of Matahiwi Marae in Arohiri. He's on that steering rope and he's passionate about actually not just, it doesn't stop with solar and battery installation, it's the capability. They have it there and they don't turn it on, you know. So yeah, we do need to build capability within our whānau. We will have case studies that will whakamana whānau that already have solar and battery to use it efficiently and really capitalise on it. Also, part of Jay's mahi is our community groups. And, you know, 35 community groups now across the motu. And these are self-run, sovereign, I guess you would say, community groups. And what they're really there for is to be that voice and be that network, be that organic network within your community you can go to. You can ask these questions about power bills, you can ask these questions about where to go, who to speak to within that as well. So there's kind of two ways I think we're going to try and tackle that. Within this report, 100%. There's some case studies in there of whānau that have solar and battery but don't use it effectively or efficiently or at all. There's also case studies in there like Kia Whittinga who have solar and battery. They export it to 30 homes from 3 different marae that have centralised power. But actually that comes within its complexities as well about whānau sharing power, you know. And so there's going to be a few case studies within this report which are going to really speak to that as well. So yeah, kia ora.
Kia ora. I've got two, aroha atu. So just to pick up on Matua's kōrero, so just so I get it clear, an electric marae has no other means of generation, so no petrol lawnmower, no weed eater, no gas hobs for cooking. Just so I understand the definition of what an electric marae or the vision of rewiring is that correct?
If only I had a slide that showed this. No, literally on the front of our electric homes report, it points out the 6 machines that make up an electric home. The electric marae report is going to do the exact same thing. It's anything that runs on fossil fuels being switched to run off of the grid instead, or even better, being switched to run off of the rooftop solar or the ground mount solar that marae will have. The main energy uses of your marae are going to be similar to the home. So it's the way you heat your water, the way you heat your space, any vehicles you might have on marae are the main ones, and then a little bit less energy use is the way you cook your food, but still an important part. That's going to be the main ones. Electrification is a process. It's not necessarily you go from 0 to 100 in a day, and so we would focus on the most impactful actions for your marae first, which are going to be those ones, which means lawnmower, down the list, your power tools down the list. But I'll tell you too, once you get solar on the roof and you start to see that you can generate power for your marae at 13 cents a kilowatt, whereas you would need to buy it from a gentailer at 35 cents a kilowatt, you're going to want everything in your marae to run off of that solar. instead of that rate from the grid. The other really important point I just wanted to jump back to for a second is that we know that electrifying the marae is going to be a huge benefit for the hapu, but then we have many, many whānau who need to benefit from this as well, and that's where rewiring can step in as well. We want our marae to be in a position where the rangatira of that marae are in a position to then empower their whānau with this sort of mataronga as well, to help them along their electrification journey. So we might influence 120 marae, they're going to go and influence thousands more whānau from there. So thanks for your patai. You had a second one?
Tino pai, yeah. We do have solar panels, and actually that was, believe it or not, sometimes a bit of a hard sell, whai mana? And so,
Ka pai.
so, you know, does your data speak whānau? Is there, on your website, are there links to like toolkits to help the volunteer trustees to actually portray the benefits?
Absolutely, in terms of the resources are there, but here's the other thing that we know is that resources, websites, tools, etc., they may get you 30% of the way. What you really need is a conversation. What you really need is someone who can tell you, oh, I did it this way, and this is what I learnt. And that's why we have someone like Steve who's working in the community to do that. And so we want to offer both. There are tools and resources I can point you to, but I think what your trustees might need is a conversation. And as one of our student Nopu put it, 1,000 cups of tea to ask all of the questions, to do exactly what we're doing now, to go through the nitty-gritty of it, to figure that out. And so we want to offer both. If you can't find one, we'll certainly give you the other.
Kia ora whānau, just mindful, the wharekai is called, so the lunch is ready. So we've got probably one more pārtai.
Just one last question, if I can, very quickly. It's land trust, not marae, land trust. Can they be involved in this?
We'll 100% have the yeah, we'll have the kōrero for sure. Whether it becomes a case study is another question, but we definitely want to have that kōrero with anybody and everybody and be there. Yeah.
Yeah, kia ora. Just to clarify for our whānau, so this is a very early in the project. So what they are here, what our team are here is to talk to you and see if you want to be involved in sharing information. So then this report and template can be generated. So then that can then inform marae around the motu. So it's not done yet.
Yeah.
So this is about seeing if any people in the whare today want to be involved. So they're not making a promise, we'll solve your electrification, but it's the very early stage in asking for the help of information about different types of marae, and then to produce a report which will go out wide and provides blueprints to help all of our marae if they want to. And then there will be the links. Sold. Ka
Yeah.
Look, I know that there are other whānau that have got questions, but can we hold the questions until
We're here.
lunch?
Matt and
The
I
whānau
here. Matt and I here today and tomorrow as well, so there'll be plenty of time for
Perfect.
part-time or
All right, so
kōrero.
so please come and talk to them. Hit them up over lunch. There's a few of you that have questions, so can I ask you all to sit together and have that kōrero then? But we've got a warm round of applause for our first panel. And we've got some beautiful gifts from Ngā iwi o Taranaki. Thank you, koutou. How lovely. Awesome. So, Kai is hot. Can I ask us to have Kai hear out Sarah, because she'll be kind of just encouraging you, kia horo. Do digest your food. But